It's ADHD Diary, and what are we talking about today? The pressure of the blood. Ooh, my chair's squeaking. Blood pressure. Yeah. So these are really important for loads of reasons, especially if you have hypertension, which I do. I found out I do from a life of ridiculous diet fads and general health problems, and probably drinking 20 cups of coffee a day doesn't help. So yeah, I've got hypertension. So these are really useful, particularly for ADHD. The reason that I'm wearing a tank top isn't a fashion statement. It's because I wanted to show me putting this on, you need to have bare skin. So I was like, I'll do this because it's easier. So I'm going to show you how to use this, and then I'm going to explain why they're really useful. So I got given this so I'm in the UK. I got given this by my ADHD team because when you're on stimulant medication such as this, your blood pressure and your resting heart rate goes up. My resting heart rate, if I haven't been drinking coffee, sits around 57, 58. When I was on these pills, it is like 67, around there sort of level. So it's a jump. Same with the blood pressures, but like I said in an earlier video, but when I was on these before, when I was on the 1 a day slow release, my blood pressure went up to 180/90, which was like basically stop right now because this is just dangerous. So yeah, I did that. Since coming off them, I had to go to the doctors and basically get them to take my measurements because these machines can be inconsistent, and they were worried that it was that. So I went to the doctors, and my blood pressure was hypertension 1. It was like 147/80, I want to say. So it's hypertension 1 just. So they were like, go home and check it. So I checked it, and this was then giving the same reading. So yeah, it turns out this was okay. It was just the medication was doing that to me. But anyway, I'm going to show you how to use this, and then yeah, I'm going to explain why I'm taking it today in particular. So first of all, you've got this little machine. Then you've got this armband. Now luckily, this one actually has writing on it. I'll try not to move this too much because you're going to hear like Velcro and stuff and you're not going to be able to hear me properly. But this has instructions on it on how big your arm is. Now I've got a massive arm. I've actually used some blood pressure machines in the past and they haven't fit on my arm properly. Luckily this one's massive. It's got a large on it. So what I'll do is I'll undo this. Then you turn it so that the cable is facing down. This one's really good. Like this is just a fantastic. I've used a bunch. This one's really well designed. It just helps you out. So it's got a little yellow thing basically to say where it needs to go. So it needs to go on your left arm. It slides up, and then they say it's supposed to get. So that's where my middle part of my arm is, like the join. I think that's where the main vein is. So it goes like just above it, and then you pull it round. Strap it up like that. So that's now on, that's nice and tight. And then they say that you're supposed to have the machine at the same level as your arm. Let me pull this down a bit and you'll be able to see. There we go. Right, so here's the machine. It's at the same level as my arm, like that. So then on the machine you've got a menu button, which I'll be honest, I don't even know what it does. I've never needed to use it. Or you've got the power button. The power button switches it on. So press the power button. And it'll start beep. Then it will start to tighten around your arm. Now when you take this, you're not supposed to talk or move, and you're supposed to make sure you relax, but obviously I want to tell you how it works, so this might give a false reading. Yeah, it gets tighter and tighter and tighter. And depending on what your hypertension level is, it depends how long it squeezes for. So because I've had high hypertension, when it's hypertension 2 and it's a dangerously high reading, this machine goes for ages and it's really scary. And actually, I felt the blood stopping in my arm. So yeah, if you've got really good blood pressure, it tends to go really quickly. Then it's just happy and it stops. But because I've got bad blood pressure, it tends to work longer. So I'm gonna It's still going now. It's pumping down. So you've got 3 readings on it. I should know what they are, but my doctor does that. All I know is I know the chart and what's dangerous and what's not. And obviously the pulse is the easy one. So there's SYS, DIA and PUL. So my blood pressure at the moment is super crazy high. Let's have a look. It's 175/96 with a 71 pulse. Now that is mental. I'm assuming it's a false reading. So what I'll do is I will sit down for 10 minutes, I'll calm down and I won't chat or do anything. I'll relax in my chair, take my pulse again, and then we'll see what happens. So I will do a little jump cut, stop the recording, and I'll see you in a sec. That's more like it. There you go. 147/80 with a pulse of 62. So that wasn't cheating what I did there. That's actually how you're supposed to use the machine. It says that you're supposed to relax for 5 minutes and yeah, make sure you're comfortable, you're relaxed for 5 minutes, you're not talking stuff. So that's what an incredible difference this machine can take. They also sometimes suggest that you take 1 or 2 readings. Now I've heard some people say you should never take more than 1 reading because it's bad. But my ADHD doctor told me that the latest information from the British Heart Foundation in Britain is that you are allowed to take it basically 3 times straight. Like take it, done, take it, done, like not even waiting for a minute, just one after each other. That way you take the average reading and you work it out from there. So anyway, 147/80 of 62. That's hypertension 1, I believe, but I'm always hypertension 1 when I'm off medication as well. So that's pretty standard for me. I'll just take this off. There we go. I'll pan the camera back up so you don't have to look at my tummy. There you go. Hello! I've got my beast mode top on. The reason I'm wearing this top, apart from this, is that I am going boxing in a little bit, 2 p.m. actually, going sparring in the local boxing club. I boxed when I was a younger man, and then I stopped in my 20s because I moved away, and I've started again. So but I think I mentioned this in an earlier video actually, boxing comes under the high intensity exercise, which is when you have hypertension, doctors get very scared, and rightly so, when you say you do boxing or high impact or high intensity sports, because your heart just gets basically just, it's high, it's what it is, high intensity. Your heart just gets pumping crazy. So whilst I was on my medication last time before Christmas, and I was boxing then as well, I constantly was watching my watch. I was checking my blood pressure daily, 2 to 3 times. If my blood pressure was bad, I wouldn't spar. I'd only train. I'd only like hit the bags and stuff, and then I'd monitor it. So it's really important if you've got high blood pressure and you're doing crazy exercise that you're aware of your body, because you don't want to be putting it's already under pressure from the medication. You don't want to put it under more pressure. Plus I'm overweight as well, so like the overweight mixed with the ADHD medication mixed with the boxing is like a cocktail of just bad heart. So I'm trying to just, because obviously I need to exercise to keep my general health up. I could do other things. I'd probably suggest, I'm passionate about boxing and I love it. So, and it's the only thing I find that really gives me a good exercise, because I'm in a group of people. I tend to work out harder than if I was by myself. I used to go to the gym, but I've lost that sort of willpower now. Again, I've tried running, I've tried walking. Nothing really gives me that dopamine release that boxing does. Yeah, so I really enjoy it. Yeah, so that's why I take my blood pressure today. I'm off boxing, so that's how a blood pressure machine works. It's exciting. My blood pressure's good. Means I can spar today. I'm very excited about it. So yeah, I better get ready for boxing, and then I might do a little do a little hello video after I finish boxing, just to show how I'm feeling. I might not. Also, I'm drinking decaf coffee at the moment. So I make sure I don't stimulate anything else. I don't do caffeine at all now anyway. But if I was going to go boxing and I was drinking coffee or Coca-Cola or anything that had caffeine in it, Monster, God forbid. I think if you were on this medication, don't do Monster or sorry, I shouldn't do the brand, but like what do you call them, like sports energy drinks. Just stay away from those because you don't need big boosts of caffeine in your body, just messing with your chemical balances. It just doesn't end well, and all that'll happen is you won't sleep at night, and you'll start getting twitchies and all the side effects you don't want. That's coming from me personally. Again, every person's different, so you might listen to that and you might be like, oh, Ed's lying because I don't have any of those effects. Like every person and body and every life choice you've made up until this point affects you. I mean, there are people who are my age and don't need, and take their blood pressure anyway just to be safe, but they're fine. Their blood pressure goes up like a point or two. I've unfortunately had a life where I've ruined my body. There's no other word for it. And unfortunately, the repercussions of that are that my heart is not great, and I need to keep an eye on it. So it's just the cards were dealt, unfortunately. Again, with pills, 5 milligrams may not touch some people. 5 milligrams may be enough for someone to completely alleviate their symptoms. I'm a bit more coherent than I was. I actually watched my first video today just to see how I'm doing, and the difference is night and day. It's quite funny actually. I just sound so melancholy and just tired, and I was, to be honest. I'm feeling significantly better today, and I think that my speech patterns are less incoherent, which is hilarious because I'm always doing random tangents and saying strange things, and there's still a bit of that. I mean, I think that's just my personality. I wonder how my dosage increases, how much more sense I'll start making, and if I'll be able to. My ADHD brain does a lot of dot connecting. Like I always use the expression, it's like a pinball machine. And if you've ever played pinball, with the buttons on the side and the spring and the ball goes up, and the ball is like a thought, and it goes around and it hits a bumper, and it's like that's relevant, and like my brain will connect dots together, and sometimes I can't control the ball, it just goes over there, and I'm like, oh, what? And then I forget what I was originally doing, or what the original topic was, or what I'm trying to get across. So my brain's going all over the place, and tangents, talking rubbish really. But yeah, that I've done. This, what are we doing? We're at 8 minutes. I'm trying to keep the video time down a bit so I don't just ramble for ages, which is really hard because, again, my brain goes all over the place. But hopefully today was pretty quick, and hopefully you find it useful. Like I said, this is the Micro Life blood pressure monitor. It's just the one I was given. I've used other ones in the past. This one's quite good, but yeah, blood pressure monitors, they're great. Also, watches that have BPM, blood beats per minute readings on them are also great as well. And this does my sleep as well, so it's just very useful for getting over your own insecurities about how you're feeling. Like being a hypochondriac, it's way, like, your mind doesn't wander when you think, am I feeling rough? And then you look at your stats and you're like, actually no, I'm fine. Sometimes I'll be working out and I'll feel like, whoa, this feels like a hard workout, and I'll look at my BPM and it's at like 130, 140, and I'm like, well, that is obviously I'm exercising, but that's not dangerous. That's like your fat burning level, so it's not too bad, but it just feels high. Particularly, I imagine with my blood pressure being like it is, I tend to stay like 150 is my, like, I call it my safe peaks. Like if I hit 150, 155, I'll start to just like actively in my brain think, okay, just calm it down a bit, and then within a couple of seconds I'm down to like 130 and it's grand. Yeah, that's today's video. This has been Ed's ADHD Diary. I'll see you on the flip side. Over and out.